Global inflation has hit its highest level since 2008, OECD says. And then we also have some market indicators from Berkshire Hathaway, Warren Buffett, and it looks like there may be a big market crash coming. Or we're also hearing that we're in a V-shaped recovery and demand is so high, supply hasn't caught up yet, and the economy is just recovering too quickly. Back when the market crashed in 2008, the media kept saying everything was fine. Buy, it's fine, it's fine. Because if they start saying it's not fine, then the market crashes. But they keep telling everyone it is fine, and then the market crashes, and then people don't trust the media anymore. So I hope y'all are getting ready for this. Lumber prices are through the roof. There's a meme going around showing $1,000 worth of lumber back in fall. Today, you can't get anything done. It's really crazy. It's making it extremely expensive to buy houses. It's increasing the cost of houses by up to like $40,000 for new constructions, which means people are buying up houses at massive premiums, which is it's making it so middle class, working class, and lower class people can't buy houses because rich people are desperately trying to get out of the dollar and buy houses they think are going to be undervalued. And then Joe Biden says, we want to print several $1 trillion again.
Brilliant.
And a petition now says 2.3 million signatures at change.org says print another $2,000 per person stimulus.
What?
Because that's good news for the economy. But hey, at the same time, the media is saying everything's A-okay. So we're going to get into all this stuff. Obviously, we have some stuff to talk about with Fauci. We can make fun of CNN because their ratings are in the gutter and they're obsessed with Trump and they know they're obsessed with Trump. And Don Lemon's complaining about how they're obsessed with Trump while they still talk about Trump. Mm-hmm. Talk about a boring thing to talk about at this point. But anyway, we're going to talk about it. And we're hanging out with FreedomToons.
FreedomToons. I'm back, ladies and gentlemen. Happy to be here. This is going to be an exciting show. Very pumped about the news we're getting here about the economy. Sounds great. I trust the media.
Yeah.
Well, so the media is saying the economy is on fire and the economy is fire, Ian.
Yes.
Also, the internet has been knocked out here, I guess, because there's like a storm or something.
Bad.
We almost died.
Whatever. We record this and it goes up on iTunes and Spotify. So, hey, how about you just give us a good review? But anyway, yeah, Seamus is here.
That's right. Lydia and I almost died earlier because of how bad the storm was.
That's
driving back from
That's
Waffle
insane.
House, and it was coming down so unbelievably hard. We could barely see in front of us. It was actually terrifying.
It was one of those like sideways rains.
So bad,
Yeah,
dude.
wind.
Looked like a tornado for a second.
Yeah.
We can get those warnings out here.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
I
then-
saw a
and
cow
then-
floating by,
It's true, we did,
spiraling.
yeah.
I was like,
Spinning.
oh boy,
Yeah.
yeah.
But that was the cow of its own volition. It jumped and was
just did
spinning.
that.
It just
I think it
happens
was a
out of
UFO
Midwest
actually.
cows,
It was, yeah.
a spinning cow.
Speaking
flying
of,
like-
dude, yeah.
Ian's got a crystal ball.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, and
You
I'm
can see the
thinking,
top of it.
lumber might be expensive, but now maybe is the time to build a geodesic dome as your house.
That doesn't take wood, right?
You could do it without wood. Yeah.
Interesting.
You do
Yeah.
plastic.
Every time I see a lumber truck on the road now, I'm like, I
gonna
could
get robbed.
retire. I could retire right now,
Just
but
steal
no, I
that thing.
don't. I'm here in the
Yeah.
corner pushing buttons as well.
Seamus, how much? Remember I did that voice for you on that one episode? How much did you owe me?
Oh no,
Oh,
dude, we're
no.
not having this conversation right now, dude. There's like 7 episodes Tim has done voices for that I've not paid him for yet.
Snap.
The check is in the mail.
I keep sending the invoices. And then,
With the ad revenue, we don't do a huge amount with crowd funding. So yeah, please purchase one of these shirts to help us.
people may not realize this, but Seamus does all of his FreedomToons on paper.
Yes, on paper.
Yeah.
He has paints, watercolors.
Yeah.
And then
Frame by frame.
he takes a picture with his smartphone and just takes a picture of each and every one.
It's not a smartphone. It's an old Nokia, but yeah,
Quality.
basically. And then I text it to myself. Yeah.
And then he puts it into some free Linux software to just render it all as a single video.
Exactly.
It's real.
That's why it looks as good as it does.
That's true. Yeah.
Get that fantastic, charming style. No, I'm kidding. That's fraud, Tim. People are going to buy these T-shirts on false pretenses.
Well, how about instead they go to timcast.com and sign up to become members by clicking the members only button, and
Guys,
you'll
you
get
don't
access to the exclusive members only area of the website. Yesterday we talked about the Secret Wars conspiracy theory, and then we did like a whole Trump fan fiction thing where he's like flying a fighter jet, and like Natalie Portman jumps out and like lands on an Iranian tanker. It was really fun.
Mars
That
was
sounds
involved,
fantastic.
yeah.
Brie
Thanks for
Larson.
inviting me, you guys. That's really cool. I'm glad I was here to be
Sorry.
part of that.
Part of the story is that Brie Larson was recruited early on, but betrayed us to the CCP, stealing the Genesis
Obviously.
device from Iran to give to Xi Jinping to make him immortal.
Yeah.
If you want to hear that story, go to timcast.com and become a member, and you can waste your time listening to it, but at
Or-
least you'll laugh.
Here's the thing. If you want to become a member, it should be to watch the after show that I'm going to be on. Jack's a good guy, but I wasn't there in the last episode, which means it's going to be significantly less entertaining.
Yeah,
My
because
friends just ditched me.
But, well, the after show the bonus segment for this one is going to be the Fauci fan fiction.
And it's also going to be just him beating me with the 2x4 that he has because he
Very
purchased some
expensive.
extra.
I just want to let everybody know the whole hour before we're starting the show and we're setting up, it's just me and Seamus doing various
Literally.
voices of Alex Jones and
true.
Anthony Fauci.
Droplets.
Droplet.
Getting your droplets
Two
everywhere.
masks. And that was it. It was just us saying masks and droplets.
true.
Masks and
nonstop.
droplets,
And
yeah.
everyone's laughing. No, the funniest was when Seamus was singing Numa Numa as Jordan Peterson.
Oh my gosh! Like Maya he, Maya ha ha. What does it mean? It's like we have to actually analyze this. Well, first of all, there are some people who claim that it's an entirely separate language. Like these gibberish words actually mean something in a different country.
The economy is on fire. Is that good or bad? I don't know.
Well,
but
it's like
this guy's talking here about Jordan Peterson.
It's complicated, man. Like, hard times create strong men?
That's true.
So maybe it's not the worst thing in the world.
Yes.
All right. Everybody go to timcast.com, become members, and then you can hear this nonsense at 11 in the private thing.
Freedom.
What I told people was like, everyone's freaking out, people I knew. And I'm like, listen. Like, here's the bottom, right? I'm like right here and you're here and the market crashes. And I'm like, I don't know.
Yep.
I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, hasn't
Tim
affected
felt
me.
more equal to everyone, and that's how socialism works.
That's
That's
right.
right.
At the very, very bottom,
We went
are
around
happy because everyone else
celebrating.
gets brought to their
Everybody
level.
was cheering when it happened.
I don't remember it even until like 2011. Do you guys remember like the fallout didn't seem to start to rumble until like 2010 or 2011
What do
or
you mean?
something? Like it just became a big deal. Like the fact that we had bailed out all these banks and established all this debt didn't seem to like shock people until a couple of years later.
Yeah, it was this weird thing. You started to see these populist movements spring up on the right and left. You had Occupy Wall Street, and you also had the Tea Party, and the establishment was clearly very threatened by them. I remember there was this show, The Newsroom, which was always putting forward the PC narrative in their stories, and they had an arc where the character was like horribly intimidated by the Tea Party, and he was a brave journalist for criticizing them, as if like no one on TV was doing that. It was hilarious how horribly they were and how hard they were trying to make the Tea Party these villains.
I remember that.
It was heroic. They still do that today. They're like, oh, this person holds this brave, courageous, revenant idea that Trump is bad.
Yeah,
That's really revolutionary there. I'm really impressed.
As an aside, for those that are listening, we're experiencing internet troubles.
Yes.
So I just switched to one of our backups because I guess like internet across the board for our network is being hit really hard. It was a bad storm. So I switched. Hopefully this one works. It'll
That's
probably
good.
reduce the resolution, but we're going to need to get a power cable to charge because it's just going through my phone.
Okay. Well,
Okay.
Yep. Hopefully that
Interesting.
works.
What do you have, USB-C?
Yeah.
I
You
got one right
yeah.
here. Yeah, use mine.
Nice. Is it long enough?
Yeah, I think so. There you go.
Let's
Boom.
get it on.
So that means fewer people are going to see this, so we can talk about more controversial things
Oh,
or
yeah.
our feelings.
Let's
just
talk
our,
about-
our
Let's
deep
talk about
feelings.
Let's talk about legalizing hemp, because if the wood industry, if the lumber industry really is
Ooh,
going
okay,
spiraling,
interesting.
we're gonna
Well,
need-
let's show this. Maybe check this out. You want to talk about market crash? We got this this tweet's going viral from Brian Nichols. It says FYI, and there's a big pile that says fall 2020, $1,000 in lumber, and you can see all of this wood, and they've painted the ends of them blue, and then next to it it says May 2021, $1,000 in lumber. Dude, that's nuts. For those that are listening, it's basically like a tenth.
That's
A
crazy.
tenth of the lumber.
Yeah.
Now,
One quarter.
I haven't been able to fact check this at all, but I've heard that it had something to do with Trump's tariffs, so that the Canadian lumber won't ship it down here because it's too expensive.
I don't believe it.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I couldn't find anything
I
about
don't believe it. So we had when we had Joe Kent on, he was talking about the Pacific Northwest and timbering and all that, and U.S. regulations making it very difficult to source wood in the United States. I just don't believe it. I don't trust the media. Whenever they come out and they're like, Donald Trump did this, it's bad. I'm like, I don't believe you.
That's like, what wouldn't they blame him for?
Yeah,
It's the boy who cried wolf. I'm sure
It's like-
some of this is his fault,
Right.
but
It's
when,
like
you
Brian-
label everything as being the result of Trump's failures, then it's like, we're not going to believe you. when
Right.
Something
Like,
actually is.
Brian Stelter could be sitting in a room with Don Lemon and he could fart, and then Don Lemon looks
like,
at him
it
and
was
he goes,
Trump.
"It was
Trump.
Trump. It was Donald Trump." And Don Lemon goes,
I saw
"You're
nothing.
right.
It
was. It had,
I take
was
credit
Donald
for. First of all, if I farted, it would be much louder. It would be the greatest fart you ever heard.
Yes.
So lumber. This means houses are going to spike.
Yeah.
It means
That's
Paper?
something
gonna-
like $19,000 to the average cost of a house right now.
it's going to have a major ripple effect. Check this out. So hold on a minute, right? We got food shortages already. We got beef and chicken. And a lot of people keep saying, like, whenever we talk about this, they're like, Tim, there's no shortage. I'm like, okay, well, we ain't getting it. There's reports there's a trucker shortage, and people are like, there's not. There's truckers all over the place. I'm like, okay, well, they're not. For some reason, people aren't driving.
Yeah.
Gas shortages, food, whatever, chlorine, I don't know, weird stuff.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
So think about it this way. Somebody's got to do a job. There's a lot of jobs that require wood. That's why people go buy wood all the time. So I was talking to these guys that I know, they build skate parks, and I asked them about like, hey, what's going on? Like, what have you seen? And they basically told me it's really bad right now. And so here's what I'm worried about. These guys are going to go to their clients and be like, hey, you know, normally we do these events and it costs $100,000 to build the park. Okay, well now it's going to cost $500,000 to build the park. And the event is going to be like, that's literally our entire budget. We still got to hire labor. We got to rent space. We can't do it. We'd have to charge $200 per ticket instead of, $20 or $40. So they say, okay, we're not doing it. Events get canceled. This exacerbates the labor shortage. It means that without the raw materials to do the work, there's a ripple effect. It's not just the wood that you can't buy. It's the construction jobs. It's the jobs that that money goes and circulates to. So sandwich shops.
Yeah.
It's the events that we're going to hire the contractors to build the thing for them in the first place that now can't do it. Think about like shows. This is brutal.
What
when
the
you
heck?
live in the middle of nowhere.
Welcome back, everyone,
Yeah.
to the hottest of the hot.
That's
the
right.
Awesome
Guess we can try
Timcast
satellite.
show.
We're just gonna.
We're going to our third
switch
internet
up.
option right now, backing it up to satellite. Maybe we'll
right.
get a little bit more of a fluid vibration that way.
We love
So
it.
you get recovered plastic, digested and recovered plastic.
So why do you think this isn't being done right now?
Because the copper industry has a huge monopoly on the system right now, and obviously the lumber industry. You can see William Randolph Hearst amongst others. Tree magnets. They don't want hemp to be legal. Randolph Hearst actually tried to get people to make it illegal because it was
I've heard
competing
this.
with his wood. And
Competing with his wood.
I was gonna say.
literally, that's literally what was
And
happening.
instantly
Take
we're
you
all
kids
12 years
anywhere.
old.
Mad
Yeah.
wood competition back in the 20s and 30s. And then what other materials are up for? Obviously,
Steel.
the petroleum industry, the
Steel,
steel
yeah.
industry, which is like the coal industry.
Dude, it all ripples. And so they keep saying it's like, oh, supply just needs to catch up. It's like, bro, nobody wants to work.
Yeah, exactly.
Nobody's working. And I got a bunch of these stories. But look at this one, PBS. Are unemployment benefits keeping Americans home?
That's
look at the
hilarious.
labor shortage, and it's from yesterday.
Does paying
where-
people not to do something stop them from doing
No,
it?
this is the problem with leftist media is that the right was talking about this months ago.
Yeah.
Last year, Thomas Massey and some Republicans were
Yes.
like, hey, don't pay people not to work.
It was a bad idea.
Yeah.
Now PBS is like,
That's how you destroy your economy.
It's incredible.
can't
Incentive-
pull out from it.
Yeah.
The entire unemployment industry is based on here we'll pay you, but if you start working again, we're going to cut off your benefits.
Yeah, exactly. It's horrible.
What the heck?
Right. So when you're getting 16, what are they going to pay? This is what's creepy? We were trying to order food here the other day, and a bunch of the restaurants were just closed for no reason.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure Wednesday isn't Memorial Day. You know what I mean? Like Memorial Day was Monday, Tuesday they were closed, Wednesday they were closed, and I'm like, did people just not show up?
Yep.
So so it was funny because we ordered food and then it defaulted for today because for no reason the restaurant was closed the other day, and I guess no one noticed. And so when you clicked order, it just defaulted for the next availability.
That's annoying.
Yeah.
So their food arrived today?
Yeah, we had it. It was delicious.
okay.
It was
That works
great.
out.
Shut up. And I'm like, okay, so I guess they reopened. I was worried that they were going to be like permanently closed or something. Maybe it's just people wanted a long weekend.
It definitely would probably coincide with not having a lot of customers too, I would think, because most businesses wouldn't shutter for 3 days for Memorial Day unless they were not
Dude,
making money.
you
If you
drive
can't have
around.
employees, though, I mean, if people aren't showing up, you kind of don't have a choice.
Yeah.
You drive around looking at these restaurants and they're just like offering crazy amounts of money.
Oh, yeah, the Waffle House had a sign that was
Yes.
like, we are fighting the pancake patriarchy. Please apply here, and
No,
we'll
shut
promote
up.
women more. I'm not
Yeah, I
kidding. Yeah,
posted
we'll
on my
promote
Instagram.
women.
It
Yes.
said pancake patriarchy.
Yes,
It
the
did,
pancake
yeah.
patriarchy. I was
Yeah.
like, you know what? I'm not eating here. This is ridiculous.
Now we ate it.
Yeah.
That's creepy.
But they were trying to push
Social
people
justice
to, yeah,
stuff.
it was like using social justice stuff, but to try to get people to work there. It was very strange.
Yeah, because the people with college degrees are the people who are going to be working at Waffle House.
Oh my God.
Seriously, it
Oh,
makes sense.
yeah.
It's true.
Oh
You know
my
I'm right.
goodness, you're right.
roasting them, man. Wow.
true, though.
That's brutal.
That is
That's mean to the Waffle House people.
know.
Yeah,
It's true.
honestly,
I'm
no.
sorry.
In all honesty, yes. Like the people at Waffle House, work pretty hard.
Yeah,
you know?
that's
You're talking
true.
Like,
Yeah, why you
I don't
working
think
at a
these
Waffle
guys
House?
not.
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying. Like, I think most college students in the liberal arts field are
Would not, yeah.
wouldn't survive at a job like
Seriously.
that. I'm sorry.
Well, you got to pay your back your loans,
That's true.
Yeah.
And if your love of theater is that
Strong
important,
enough, you gotta do it somehow.
I've been there.
So what do we do? We got this story from Business Insider. Warren Buffett's favorite market indicator hits 200%, signaling stocks are overpriced and a crash may be coming.
Well, that's almost like they just flooded the market with liquidity without really thinking about the long-term effects.
It does seem like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I wonder if they were thinking about the long-term effects. Do you look at the things that have been hit, beef and gas?
Yeah.
Building
I don't know.
supplies?
I really think they just look for these Band-Aids to slap onto things, and they hope they'll be able to figure something out later. I don't think it's intentional. I don't think they're trying to destroy it. I think they're just unbelievably short-sighted.
Makes sense. Yeah, I was saying the other day that it's like the solution is exacerbating the problem.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know what to do, so they're like the economy's is in flames and it's collapsing. So just pump more money and print more money like crazy.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what most of these countries do before hyperinflation hits.
Yes.
The economy starts stagnating, so they print money and spend it. They do these big government spending packages where they're like, I know, if we print a bunch of money and then spend it ourselves, that will kickstart the economy because then the people we hire will buy stuff. And then you end up with $1 trillion bills.
Yeah, modern monetary policy. They did that after World War II. They invested in the infrastructure, though, and were able to rebuild like factories and things that actually did kickstart the economy, seemingly. But they didn't do that this time around. They just gave the money out.
Did you guys hear that Russia dumped like $45 billion US from one of their funds?
What?
No. They don't want to. I mean, it's not like it's the most amount of money in the world or whatever, but that's $45 billion.
Yeah, it's quite a few
they're
dollars.
selling off. So if Russia is trying to get off the dollar and China's trying to get off the dollar and China's using dollars for the Belt and Road Initiative, I think.
Oh, almost none of them too. Angela Merkel doesn't have any. Macron doesn't have any. A lot of these leaders just have. They don't really care about the future because they don't really care about their kids.
Exactly. There was that quote from John Maynard Keynes when they asked him, what a perfect person to bring
Oh,
up
yeah.
right now, right? But they asked him, well, what do we do when we accumulate too much debt? And he said, well, in the long run, we'll all be dead. Well, of course, John Maynard Keynes never had any children. So, of course, he had that attitude.
Interesting.
But it's funny. You can really tell how optimistic after I graduated college. And he was asking people around my age, are you an optimist or a pessimist? Oh, I'm an optimist, blah, blah, blah. Are you going to have kids? I don't know if I could bring my kids into this world. It's like, okay, well, then you're a pessimist.
Yeah.
And it's just interesting, like you said, all of these foreign leaders don't have children, or if they do, they have a very small family. I just think it's because they don't have a whole lot of faith in the future.
Does Putin have a family?
I
think he does. Yeah,
he does. Yeah, he's
Wasn't there a video of like him teaching his daughter to do like
Yeah.
Jeet Kune Do or something?
How to interfere in elections. He's like, first, you send ballots to this one. First, you have non-state actors buy $46,000 worth of Facebook ads.
She's a little kid and she reaches over to press enter and she looks at him and he like nods at her and then she presses enter and it says like Facebook ad purchased $1 and he's like, oh, they grow up so quick.
And then you just see the electoral map switch. He's like, yes, good, I am so proud of you.
Yes, that's how. Dan,
Nope.
you're prepared.
What do you mean by invest in yourself, Lydia?
Hit the gym, get
Okay.
stronger, eat
Okay.
right, make yourself like.
I feel really targeted right now.
Eating a fruit snack.
Yeah, it's
You know
smart.
I'm right.
Exactly.
I've been working out more lately. It
Heck
feels-
yeah.
Everybody should be super ripped, wearing a red flannel and carrying around an
we're
axe to chop down some trees.
That's right.
And build a log cabin.
That's what I'm saying.
Are we talking about Jack Murphy right now?
Nope.
Kind-
No,
yeah.
we're talking about everyone. Women, men,
Everyone.
dogs.
At the
Dogs.
at the
Chickens.
Deptford house,
Chickens.
we had a couple of trees at Tim's other house back in
Oh my
Jersey,
gosh,
and
yeah.
we cut them down, had them cut down, and then so we had all this wood in the backyard. And we were just kind of chopping wood, you know.
So
And wood is sharp.
it is. It really is. And I tried a few times.
No one's ever going to know. 'Cause see, this is,
Dude,
we
this
just
is-
want the audience to know this is why you guys have to tune in. Because when you're not watching, we just lose our minds. And
We
do whatever.
do. It's
So one of our chickens might be transgender.
what? How?
Really?
Yeah,
Tell
no
me
joke.
more. All
Is
right.
it-
Yeah.
I think it's intersex if it's just an animal.
No.
Or what do you
It's,
mean by transgender? Like it's
so
a male
the-
acting
It's a
female?
rooster.
It's a female that has become the male because there's no male.
She's a.
And so the other night we had the fire department come out because the alarm went off. And
Yeah, that was great.
nobody would take
exciting.
responsibility for why it
Who
went off.
did it?
Because here's what probably happened. Like it was 4 a.m. and the
Ian
smoke
started
alarm went
playing
off.
Drums.
Yeah.
And it was probably
Almost killed you.
someone just like doing something dumb, like using a lighter,
Smoking
or,
crack in the kitchen.
or
Someone does, yeah.
baking potatoes. Who knows?
Yeah.
And everyone's like, wasn't me. So the only thing we can do is like we got to call the fire department out because it could be electrical fire.
Right.
The alarm's going off. We got to do a full suite. But anyway, when it came out, the chickens, they all wake up and they all walk out like all slow, looking at what's going
Aw.
on. And then one of the chickens started crowing.
What?
And I looked what's this noise?
Life
And then I
finds a way,
looked over and I
Tim.
watched them. And they all
does, yeah.
stopped. They all stopped and just stared at me. I'm like, which one of you is yelling?
Which was it? They didn't
And then I'm
answer.
like, okay. And then I walk away. And then I hear the crowing again. So I walk over and I look again. Don't see anything.
They won't tell you.
And then I walk away. And then I turn around right away. And then there it is. It was Roberta. And she was like,
Robert?
or
Yeah,
Roberto.
maybe it's Roberto
Yeah,
now.
Roberto,
dude.
yeah.
But so I looked it up, and apparently there's a thing that happens with 1 in 10,000 chickens,
Oh, boy.
where if there's no rooster that's they're at the top of the pecking order, they start acting like
How
roosters,
funny.
and they do it because they were alerting the hens to danger. And so there's the crazy thing that happens. Apparently, they only have one ovary, and if it gets infected or shuts down, they actually will lose their hen bodies and grow like rooster plumage, and then start actually roosting and roostering.
Tim, I don't need to hear this liberal nonsense. All right, I know
This is like a gender studies course.
I know this
is good.
This is actually more like Jurassic Park in my mind. Life finds a way somehow. That's basically what happens. But
It
can
has
they reproduce?
nothing to do with anything. No,
Oh,
it has nothing to do with.
I know. I was
any news
I
relevance.
was kidding.
Just at a certain
There's no way.
point
That's insane.
of like, so before the show starts, we have like all of these topics lined up, and then I don't think anyone can hear because we disable the audio, but I'm hearing a
Yeah, me
like
too.
every 3
Every
seconds,
3
and I'm
seconds.
like, I can't. I'm over it.
Yeah.
We're hanging out.
We're just gonna watch Jurassic Park. Let's just do Mystery
let's
Science
just
Theater
pretend we're
3000. We'll
watching
just
Jurassic
watch a
Park.
movie.
So we still have some news we can talk about, but
Yeah.
Seamus, do Jordan Peterson.
It's like, man, okay, if you're going to ask me to do Jordan Peterson the moment no one else knows what to talk about, all I have to say is the man's work isn't so trivial that it can be distilled into this caricature conversation to have because there's something wrong with the internet, man. That's not how it works. It's like, that's not fair to the man. It's really offensive.
You know what's bugging me though?
What?
We've got high speed, very expensive internet. We've got standard cable landline internet.
Yeah.
We have mobile Wi-Fi backup and satellite, and
Yeah.
they are all down.
It was a crazy storm.
Multiple machines.
No, I
It's
don't know
been
what
since
that's
like
all
3
about.
in the afternoon too. That's when I was getting.
Is there an internet outage going on maybe somewhere? Let me check.
I was
Data
having
Detector.
some weird stuff with the internet earlier when I was uploading my video, but
Okay. Speaking of Roberta, the chicken, is she the brown
Oh,
one?
hey. There's a bunch of there are some outages.
Okay.
Yeah, so it looks like Discord, Counter-Strike, Call of Duty, Steam, PayPal, all have big spikes. HBO Max has a decent spike. It's not everybody, but there's a decent amount of services that are reporting huge spikes and outages.
ooh, we were going.
I don't know,
back to the Stone
Call of
Age.
Duty and Counter-Strike, it's not like critical infrastructure there or anything.
But I tell you,
Well, that's your opinion.
until the because people, gas prices, food, all this, blah blah blah. But if the internet goes out, people are gonna go crazy.
People are gonna lose their
Oh,
minds.
I will be so relieved.
Dude.
The internet goes, I don't have to do this anymore.
I'm free.
Tim, how are people going to get FreedomToons t-shirts? How are people going to buy Bitcoin?
You know what I'm gonna do?
What?
If the internet just stopped working, I would go find some red flannel and an axe, and then I would just get some boots and I just walk into the woods and be like, well, I better start practicing.
Spend 2 years out there, write a book.
Because everybody knows that in order to be actually to be able to survive, it starts with lumberjack.
Yeah, that's exactly it. You have to be a lumberjack. That's the only way you
So-
can make
It's
it.
the only
That's
way.
true. Yeah.
Would you start with a small tree
No,
and
come
work
on.
your way up, or would you just look
Absolutely
for the
not.
biggest, hardiest?
No, because you have to let the small tree grow. You're just
That's
wasting
a good
it at
point.
that point.
I would rather supervise. Seamus, you do the work.
Yeah, I look, listen, I know what I'm talking about here, all right? I am an outdoorsman. I'm a survivalist.
You're like a master lumberjack.
Yes, basically. And I could go out there, you just give me, I don't even need an axe, man. I need like a hatchet and a great redwood and maybe like 5-10 minutes.
People are just tuning in right now, not understanding the context about the internet, and they're like, "What are they
Is the
talking
internet
about?"
working now?
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
the
I mean,
internet's been out,
It's,
so we've
it's,
just
it's
kinda
cutting
been
in and out. So it's
Okay.
just like, we're chilling.
Yeah, I'm sorry, guys.
My back hurts.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Were
Is
you
your
working
back
out
really
earlier?
hurt? I'm
No,
sorry,
I think I pulled
Tim.
some.
Oh.
I went
Dude.
and bought an obscene amount of guns.
That's fantastic. I wish
Yeah.
I was invited, but I was sleeping. I was napping.
Well, that's
So
right. You
I-
were
the
most
specifically not
exciting
invited.
moment-
That's-
yeah,
Well, so
yeah,
this-
exactly. I was also said Tim like sent me a text saying don't come, and I was asleep, so I didn't get.
okay.
but
Yeah. We didn't want him to come.
Do you want to talk on the specific guns that you bought?
No, I
No.
mean, I don't even know.
He lost them in a boating
walked in,
accident
and I
on
was
the way
like,
home.
all of them, please. So what happened is, yeah, I did buy a lot of guns.
Good.
I texted Crowder. I'm like, don't show anyone this video. And he was like, nice.
He's like, say what again?
No, so I did. I think I did a segment today talking about like there was a brief pause in money reporting. A lot of people are talking about the M2 money supply because
Yeah.
remember that thing where like the spike goes straight up.
Yeah.
And people are saying like we've talked about it quite like Tim, you're wrong. The M2 money supply, they just changed how it's reported, and I'm like, did you read what it says? My understanding, I could be wrong again. What they're saying is that savings accounts used to have restrictions on how much you could transfer out of the account, and they removed that because of COVID, effectively turning savings account into checking accounts, which made the money supply explode because all of a sudden people could now use their savings like really, really quickly. So if you look at, I'm sorry, that's M1. If you look at M2, the spike is less pronounced, but there is a big spike. And so I'm looking at all this. I'm looking at the story about, Berkshire Hathaway. I'm looking at AMC stock just is nuts, like $75 yesterday. I'm looking at Dogecoin, and I'm like, bro, Joe Biden wants. Well, let me see if I can. Let me see if I have the story. We'll pull up. $2 trillion in taxes, but $6 trillion in spending and $22 trillion in borrowing. What can go wrong? And I was like, I should buy stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but what do you buy?
Stock. All
Gold.
Stock? No, I mean
Crypto and land.
Gold and crypto, I guess.
Yeah.
Copper.
So I bought guns, not
Yeah,
because
guns are always going to be a good investment, man.
Bullets.
I'm sorry. It's,
but not because I'm like the apocalypse is nigh. No, I was actually thinking like if I buy a car, cars go down in value immediately.
Exactly.
I have some cryptocurrency. I have some gold and silver. Like, what's a good thing that's functional and important? So what did I get? I bought mouthwash,
Yes.
isopropyl alcohol, and guns. Because guns are like they're machines. They're simple machines. They work
Yes.
well. And my worst case scenario is like I just end up selling them back to stores or something, or just have them. And I think it'll be fun to go to the range and we can film videos and we can talk about. I look at it like the worst case scenario for me is I have these guns. We can just do vlogs where we're like explaining with the different kinds and everything. And I'm just like, I don't want to sit here and just have dollars that are disappearing. I'll tell you, it was really freaky because we built the park, the skate park for the vlogs and the shows, and we're like trying to make this big fun space. Some people said it's like Fantasy Factory or whatever, and I was like, I want to make a big cultural thing. And I'm looking at the prices to do what we already did. We wouldn't be able to do it right now. Yeah, and so I'm like, so by sheer nature of just having money sit around, I've lost the ability to grow the business.
Yes.
Isn't that weird?
Yes.
So it's like I'm trying to figure out what to do. I'm like, hire a bunch of people ASAP. Just hire everybody. Like, you're hired. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'd rather have the person here doing backflips and cartwheels in the front lawn than just having money disappear.
Yeah, but then
Yeah.
the problem is, as the dollar inflates, it becomes more and more expensive to keep all the people you just hired.
That's a good point.
I mean, well, if like what, like the food will get too expensive.
Yeah, like their cost of living is going to increase a lot.
Yeah, I know. Then I'll just build, like
The Tim compound.
Fun fact.
No, we'll get maybe like a couple hundred square feet, but we'll make stand-up sleeping rooms so we can fit 300
That's just
people.
called the closet.
Bat
Tim,
cages,
you just-
yeah.
you just shove it-
What we'll do is we'll get sleeping bags that hang, so you climb in and zip up and just hang, and you don't need space.
That's smart,
And then
dude.
when it's time
I
to
like
wake up,
that.
they
Wait a
come in,
minute.
hit it with a
Who
stick.
needs privacy?
Yeah.
We'll just put them all against the wall. In fact, we'll double
What
up.
about
We'll
we
double
make
them up.
pods?
Just use plastic
hold on.
bags.
There's a lot of cicadas out. Eat the bugs.
The front of your sleeping bag has another hook to hang another person in the sleeping bag.
Oh yeah.
Have like a little
This
kangaroo
is
pouch,
scalable.
dude. We're all gonna get
Dude.
real close, huh?
People should get out of cities, man.
If
No
you can,
joke.
that's a really good idea.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna do that.
Like I go outside, there's like an egg. Like I walk into the chicken thing, there's like an egg. I just take it and I'm like, I wash it off and I eat it.
That's
It's
true in
great.
my city too, but I live in a very weird southern city. Just eggs.
What city?
So I don't want to dox myself.
Oh, smart guy.
So the cicadas are getting crazy. They're like, at first they're on the trees and they all scream. Have you ever heard of? Have you caught one?
It's their wings. I hear they're flapping their wings so fast it sounds like they're screaming. Isn't that true?
no.
They're actually screaming.
I don't know if they're actually screaming, but there was one flying above me, and it wasn't noisy. And then when I went to swat it, it went right up. Whoa! And I was like, "Wow, that's
Yeah, that
freaky,
happened, dude. One of them landed on me, and then I was like, "Get off me!" And I like blew on it, and I was like, I was like, "Oh my gosh!" It was so terrifying.
So I have this thing called the bug assault.
Yeah,
I love
It's
that
a
thing.
pump action salt blaster for bugs. And so what happens is a cicada, when it like flies at me, I take its wing out and then toss it to the chickens. So I basically been harvesting the cicadas from the air to give to the chickens. Chickens are going nuts. They're eating them all up.
when Tim said he bought a bunch of guns, that's what he was talking about.
A bunch of salt
Yeah,
shotguns.
Nerf.
That's what I call an assault weapon. So the thing about the cicadas is we had those in the area I grew up. I grew up right outside Chicago, and we got that. I think we're about 2 years different from you guys with the 17-year cycle, but the ground was like black. It was just covered in cicadas. It was worse than it was here. They were everywhere.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I saw a photo from Loudoun County, and it was a bush with every leaf was just covered in cicadas. Like it was like a bush, but it was brown. And I was like, wouldn't it be great to like throw a net over that, catch them all, and throw them into a chicken
And
coop?
then just eat them. Just eat the bugs.
Don't. Eat,
Why not?
eat
What's
cicadas.
wrong
I heard
with
it
that?
tastes terrible.
I've heard. Yeah, somebody told me that one of their friends ate. I think somebody here was telling me that their boyfriend ate one and that it tasted
Disgusting.
I don't even remember. No, delicious. You
No,
should
I
try
don't
it.
believe you.
You should try it. No,
No,
it's really good.
absolutely
Do it
not.
on air.
No.
Now we're talking. You got to grind it up and put it the
Ian's
powder
talking
in the
about, like,
tub
yeah.
and soak in it.
Exactly.
Why don't you make cicada bread?
I don't want to. I will. I will. I just. I don't
See,
know.
the
No,
thing
I'm
is,
into
like,
it, actually. That'd be cool.
we made cricket
We did
bread,
that,
but they were
yeah.
farmed crickets.
Yeah.
They were farmed, fried, and milled.
Interesting.
The cicadas are like, dude, they're out of the ground in like the middle of nowhere. There's gonna be like weird parasites, and they
fair.
have that new well, I'll tell you this, they have some kind of like fungus disease that I think they have psilocybin in them or something like that.
Oh
I
my
don't know.
gosh.
Did you
What?
guys hear that? Did you hear something like that?
I did,
What?
yeah.
What is this?
Yeah.
Whoa,
Are
dude.
people going on cicada
Yeah,
trips?
so they're getting this fungus and it makes them go crazy and they become even more insane about having cicada babies. And they start shaking really, 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 really fast, and they basically like implode.
Their
So,
butts
yeah.
fall off.
Yeah, their butts fall off.
Have you confirmed that it's psilocybin?
No, it
Ian's
is
like,
some
I want to
kind
eat
of-
them now.
I'm looking
Good
into
to
it.
me. No, it is some form of hallucinogenic fungus,
Oh
though, which is
my.
really interesting.
So wait a minute.
Next thing we know, like
These-
Ian's in the
these-
backyard with a
these
big
cicadas-
jar.
I did like it. I
No,
did.
don't eat.
Don't eat the bugs.
Cicada mushroom
Cicada
Don't
mushroom.
smoke the bugs.
or fungus.
Smoke a cicada.
It'd be
No, none of that. None of
cool.
that.
Like it might, if it's ergot, that'd be interesting. Are you guys familiar with ergot?
Yeah, that's what LSD comes from.
Yeah, they synthesized it out of ergotamine. LSD is synthesized out of ergotamine, which is
No,
a fungus that
for
grows
real?
on
I don't
rye.
think that's
Yeah.
it, yeah.
And like they say, the Salem witchcraft trials, they went insane because they were getting ergot poisoning
Yeah.
and they didn't know. So they thought everybody was like, and all these things in the past have been attributed to it, like the dancing.
Guess
That's
their
horrifying. Of
private
course cicadas.
parts fall off because
my
they get
gosh.
moving too
The
fast.
fungus is
which-
called
fun to picture.
Massospora is
Yeah.
the name of the fungus.
You got to research it for
Produces
us. I'm really
compounds of
curious.
You wanna know-
caffeinone and amphetamine. What was that?
Ugh.
All right, let me read. We got it from NPR. They say after 17 years underground, the brood X periodical cicadas are slowly emerging in 15 states. Yeah, we know. They'll shed their skins and spend 4 to 6 weeks mating before the female lay eggs, and then they all die. But some of them are getting wilder. A fungus called Massospora, which can produce compounds of cathinone and amphetamine, infects a small. So they're uppers, dude. Infects a small number of them and makes them lose control. It takes over their bodies, causing them to lose their lower abdomen and genitals, and it pushes their mating into hyperdrive, but
Yep.
they don't have junk. How are they going to do it? This is stranger than fiction, Matt Casson, an associate professor of forest pathology and mycology at West Virginia University, tells NPR's All Things Considered. To have something that's being manipulated by a fungus to be hypersexual and to have prolonged stamina and just mate like crazy. Casson, who's been studying Massospora for about 5 years, says just before the cicadas rise from the ground, the spores of the fungus start to infect the bug. Once it's above ground and starts to shed its skin to become an adult, his butt falls off. Then a white plug of fungus grows in its place. Oh, nasty.
Oh,
That's no
my.
fun.
It looks like the backside of the cicada is being replaced either by chalk or by like one of the nubby middle school erasers. The insects have no idea what's happening. The fungus, however, is pulling the strings and making the cicadas want to mate with everyone. Males that are infected will continue to mate with females, but they'll also pretend to be females so they can spread the fungus to males. What?
It's turning the bugs
It's a
gay.
bug STD.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Dude,
This
Lydia's
fungus
right.
is turning the freaking cicadas gay.
I don't like them putting fungus in the cicadas.
Dude, how come this stuff doesn't happen to people? You know?
I'm not that upset about it.
I think it does, but it's,
I don't have FOMO about that.
it's more subtle with people. Like our bacteria, our gut biome is kind of pulling the strings of our behavior. You know, eat food and then you get cravings. That's like mind control. But you see it real blatant in some animals, like where the fungus infects the brain of the worm and then it like, or the bug, and then the bug starts going crazy, like zombie bug.
You guys want to hear something real gross?
Yeah.
Dude.
So we got
Wait.
cicadas all over the place. You know what I mean? And I've been telling the story about like I catch them, right? You know the easiest way for me has been to get cicadas for the chickens.
Oh no.
I just walk to the parking lot and pick them up. You know why? Because the parking lot it's blacktop. We got it sealed, and so in the middle of the day when the sun hits it and the ground is so hot you can't walk on it, the cicadas will land and then just burn to death.
Oh, nice.
They'll just die.
Good for
And
them.
so I walk up and they're just like freaking out, and I just pick them up and throw them in the chicken thing, and the chickens eat a warm meal. But today I came out. Because I can't get them all. Some have melted to the pavement.
No.
That's rough.
Yeah,
Those
dude.
poor cicadas, dude.
Brutal. Nature is metal. Well, it's not. Is it nature? I mean, we're the ones who put the black
Metal.
out there.
Exactly. But I mean, we come from nature too. You know, like we have a nature.
That's true.
Maybe
Um,
maybe blacktop is inhumane in general.
You know what?
Salt triggers of death. The crazy thing about it is their butts they fall off and then the fungus grows out of it. Could you imagine like if human beings got infected and their butts fell off?
I couldn't. I don't want to.
And
I-
then,
you know.
hold on. Just hear me out. A bunch of dudes, their butts fall off and is replaced by weird, spongy fungal spores. and then they just become like zombie crazed and start pretending to be women, like trying to spread the fungus.
Maybe
Like that's what the cicadas are doing.
Maybe it has happened in the past, and there was a war, and they had to kill fungus butts. Like they had to. They're like, "Hey, fungus butt,
Bro, The
You're
Last of Us.
endangering my
Hold on.
species.
The Last of Us 3.
Yeah.
So you know how there's like The Last of Us, where it's like the mushrooms take over them.
No, I haven't seen it.
They
yet.
got to do this. They got to make it. It's
Literally
like
a movie.
fungus butt.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
The zombies are like people like, I want to do it, and they're like their butts are fungus spores. And
No, fungus butt. No.
So on the unemployment benefits.
don't eat cicadas.
Yeah.
Dude, how many people do you think ate one of these infected cicadas?
Oh man.
Oh man,
'Cause they
I
don't
don't know.
know-
Is this? Oh no, no.
I will not eat
People
the
are
bugs.
eating bats. They're
I
eating
know.
cicadas. How many pandemics are we gonna have to have? People eating strange things.
Dude, what if like it does spread to humans because somebody saw the news about eating cicadas? Like that would actually be a crazy like video game prem. People are all like fungus butt zombies, and it's like in the year 2021, the media told everyone to eat cicadas out of the ground, but they were infected, and the fungus spread to humans.
How many people do you think actually ate cicadas out of the
Oh,
ground?
there's a restaurant nearby that does it.
What?
Yeah,
That's
cicada
delicious.
tacos.
Good.
Really?
Yeah.
Where do they farm them?
The guy walks outside to his backyard and pulls them off the buildings. Could you
Great.
imagine that? Could you imagine like I'd like to go get food, and the guy's like, "Oh, just a minute."
Yeah,
And he
just
lifts
pull this off my building.
lifts a stone off the ground and pulls grubs and garbage out of the ground and just chucks it in a pan.
Dude,
And
this-
he's like, just coming right up. I'd be like, "Nah, I'm good, dude. If I wanted to eat the bugs out the ground, I just do it myself."
Bro, this is what the Lion King was trying to program us towards.
Eating the
This is the
bugs.
entire reason Disney released that propaganda film, trying to make us like Timon and Pumbaa.
Yeah, because they were
the bugs.
telling Simba to eat the bug.
Eat the bugs.
Yeah, because Simba was supposed to eat them.
Yeah, exactly. They're like, hold on, have you thought about bugs?
I mean, that's literally
you
it.
try this.
And they're like, "Oh, it's so good," and he's like, "Okay," and he eats bugs. That
No,
was-
they were sincere though. They actually ate bugs before that. They were
Who
bug
did?
eaters. You could tell they enjoyed it too much when they introduced Simba to the concept of eating bugs.
But yes, a hog and a meerkat, they eat bugs. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm saying they weren't being insincere. They were like, yeah, Simba, like you really should eat this. We enjoy it.
They weren't being
Yeah,
insincere.
you know, they actually enjoyed it. This wasn't like a
Well-
long con.
Are you ready for the post-apocalyptic dollar collapse, market crash, zombie butt, eat the bugs future?
I don't know that ready is ever a word I could use to describe my state with respect to that, but I'm preparing.
How are you preparing?
I've got some emergency food. I've got some weapons. I've got some fungal spray. I'm not sure what else.
Fungal spray. I'm coming to your house.
Yeah.
Commune, like a literal commune after the apocalypse, and Antifa shows up.
And they're like, this is horrible.
We'd
This
like
is-
to. No,
this
they're
is
like, we'd like to
fascist."
come in. And like, excellent. What could you contribute to the commune? It's like,
that's
we
awesome.
can smash your buildings and make everyone question the social order of the delicate fabric of your society in a post-apocalyptic scenario. Intriguing. And what will the benefit of this be? No benefit. Will just destroy your way of life.
We'll end
sounds good.
racism. It'll
That's
stop
communism.
racism.
Yeah, we'll end the racism of you
Yeah.
and your commune.
Yeah.
I think it'd be funny because like they would contribute literally nothing.
Literally nothing. We saw that with Chop. Remember that garden?
Chop?
Chop. I'm sorry, Chaz. Chop. I don't know.
The no-go zone.
I don't know what the preferred term is, but yeah.
No-go zone.
Yeah, the no-go zone, where they had the little garden thing that they set up.
Yeah, the LARP
like, on
garden.
top of cardboard.
They see they're breaking down George Floyd.
Oh yeah, we'll pull that up. Let's do that.
Yeah, let's talk about
Speaking of
that.
the chop,
Wait, what happened?
they're pulling down that memorial, George Floyd Memorial, where there's like 12 city blocks where they like blocked off from the road.
No. It's okay. Here we go.
Is this bunk?
It's not bunk. It's just you're late to the party.
yeah.
So
Damn.
CBS 4 Minnesota says George Floyd Square intersection briefly reopened before community pushback. You know what, man? Are we still on the air? Okay, I'm not gonna swear. I was gonna swear if I came and just put it all back.
Oh. And then they come back again to take it down again?
No, that's it. They gave up.
Oh.
Yeah, the police are incapable of doing anything.
Dang.
Well, they can arrest you.
Yeah.
For at a moment's notice based on government edict,
Yeah.
but not Antifa based on the actual law.
Yeah.
So I have a question about this. Let me ask you a question. So, Seamus,
Yes.
what would you call it if a group of people of an ideology they believe your nation's history is fake, and they begin imposing their ideology over this people? They fly a different flag.
Yeah.
They burn the flag of the one nation.
Okay, I'm
They
with
start
it.
seizing territory in certain cities where
like
people
it.
are literally shot and killed.
I like it.
And they get the law enforcement to operate based on their whims and edict instead of the actual law. Those that literally break hard law are exempt from it, and those who violate edict get arrested and put in jail. Meanwhile, prisoners are being released, and then they then fly their flag at your embassy. Like, what would you call that?
Mostly peaceful.
Mostly peaceful?
Mostly peaceful. Yeah, I think that's probably a solid situation.
You add all those
I don't
things
think there's
together.
anything that wrong with that. Tim, they're protesting a bad thing, so anything they do is okay. And if you criticize any of that, you're just okay with the bad thing that they're
No,
protesting.
but let's go through this. Let's literally go through each point first. Antifa openly breaks the law, and the DAs release them. Actual statutory law that is codified.
Yep.
Conservatives and people and not necessarily even conservative small business owners violate edict from governors that is not codified, and they get arrested by police and fined.
Yep.
Okay. Antifa begins seizing different jurisdictions of different cities with weapons and even killing people on numerous occasions. These people say that the history of this nation is incorrect. Everyone of this nation is evil, and they burn and desecrate the flag of this nation. And then they fly their own flag with Marxist symbols at the embassies of this nation. That doesn't, it sounds like,
Like insurrection,
Like occupation.
like insurrection, like
a group of people telling you your
invasion,
history is
like
wrong and burning your flag
invasion
and
or
flying their flag
something?
at your embassy.
If it was
Yeah.
the Chinese government, I don't want to like make the Chinese bad guys, whatever. But if it was like a foreign powers government that was doing this to our country, that would be like an occupation and creating like a puppet state out of our government.
Yep.
If they can decide who is or isn't guilty of the crimes, but it was like the Chinese government or the foreign government was deciding, that's...
In West Virginia, there's a huge controversy happening because at the schools, the people who are who got elected are woke, and they're introduced. She gets arrested. She gets arrested and locked up. You look at the barber in Michigan, broke no law, violated the decree of a governor.
Yeah.
Dude, when a group of people come to you and say your history is fake, and they demand you revise your history, and they go into your schools and start telling your kids that their history is wrong, and that the people who run this country are evil, the founding fathers are evil, the country is an evil nation that must be broken up or broken apart. They burn the flag. The police help them. I'm like, that's it. Like, America, what is it? Is it still a thing at this point? When the history of this country has been erased, does the country still exist? Is there an America if the history of America is gone?
It's an interesting question. I mean, we talked about this before, but the cities are definitely gone. I would say go out to the country, get away from them. You've been saying that a lot too. I think it's possible that this country could just end up fracturing. I see secession being a possibility. That sounds kind of insane. I think if you said that 5 years ago, people would look at you funny. And I'm not saying it's a certainty, but it certainly seems possible at this point. And I think maybe that could be the only peaceful solution. Maybe
divorce.
again, I'm also mostly peaceful. I'm also more or less thinking out loud here. I'm not making hard and fast predictions, but still have a country. I think it's just that these cities end up falling to these far less activists. Or what happens is after some time, people realize how horrible things have gotten in the areas where these activists have basically been put in charge by the political authorities, and they react against it.
I just see a group of people who burn the American flag, and now they're flying their flag at our embassies.
For sure. I guess my point is, I think there's going to be a massive backlash against it.
I don't.
No?
No, I think conservatives are particularly ineffective.
Yes, so I agree that conservatives are, but I think a lot of the people who buy into this stuff right now are starting to see it fall apart. And the more power we give them, the more they're going to be exposed as completely incompetent
To who?
and even evil to their followers.
But it's tribalism.
Maybe. I mean, I think it's tribalism, but like at some point, when you're not getting fed, you kind of stop believing in whatever it is the people who are in charge of you are telling you the narrative is.
Except one faction is saying, we'll give you everything for free, and it's those evil people keeping it from you. Mm-hmm. So when things break down, they're going to look at two factions, the Republicans being like, work hard. And then they're going to look at the Democrats being like, we'll give you whatever you want. Mm-hmm. And where are they going to flock to?
I guess it depends on how things actually become divided in terms of the actual authority. If you look at these left-wing cities where people are protesting and they're getting away with doing whatever they want, and they're essentially in charge to some extent, like you've said, they basically can run wild and do as they please. I think it's going to become obvious even to people in these movements.
Ed Wheeler gets reelected. Mm-hmm. Everyone hated him. Even the left hated him. And he still gets reelected. And then you look at Minnesota and you look what they did with the Chauvin trial. I mean, dude, I have zero faith that this country, like, I look at everything that's happening and I'm like, the people who are ignoring it, they're going to wake up one day and not realize what happened or how it happened. Because when you're watching it happen in real time, it's just crazy. But it's really funny when I talk to somebody who doesn't pay attention to the news, and they still think it's 2019. They're like, man, last year was crazy, huh? And then I'll be like, what about it was crazy? And they'll be like, just the pandemic and the lockdown. And you can ask them anything about the stimulus, the inflation, the shortages, the pipeline attacks. You can talk to them about China and Taiwan also. They'll be like, what? It's really crazy when I look someone in the eyes and I'm like, yeah, so what did you think about, like, they're flying BLM flags at our embassies? And they go, what? Yeah. I'm like, what? Like, it's
insane.
How? Because imagine this. Imagine if right now you hear this stuff and then you turn the news off. And the next time I see you, I'll be like, so did you report to your gulag for reassignment, for re-education?
For gender reassignment?
They'd be like, what are you talking about? It's like, oh yeah, re-education starts tomorrow. And they'd be like, what? That's not real. How can that be real? And it's been this way throughout the culture war. When I talk to people who don't follow news, I'll say something and they'll just be like, that's not true. How is that possible?
Yeah.
Because it's happening faster and faster and faster. So we're at this point now where let's talk about the state of this country. A year of riots and explosions and vandalism and chaos in the Pacific Northwest. The no-go zones being set up where people are taking them over with guns and killing people, literally killing them in the George Floyd no-go zone, in the Capitol Hill no-go zone, people literally being shot and killed in Portland, Aaron Danielson getting shot in the chest. Then you look at the trial of Chauvin. And what happens? Not only does he get charged by the state, the feds come in after the fact, and the feds had a secret plan to arrest him should he have been acquitted. And now they're charging him again with civil rights violations and the 3 other cops. When he was being tried, the jury had to be escorted in with armed security because the city was under a riot. So that's not a fair trial.
100%.
Like I said, the embassy's flying the flags of this ideology. Joe Biden reversing a ton of Trump policies on banning the ideology. It really does feel like if you took someone from 2 years ago and brought them to today, they would not believe a word you would say about the current state of the country. Believe it or not, many people still don't think Antifa exists.
Well, and this is the thing. So when people were talking about the far left for the past several years, we were more or less scoffed at as not serious because this is just a bunch of young, dumb college students and teenage or young adult activists. No one actually cares. They don't have any actual power. And look at where they are now.
Everywhere.
Yeah,
Yep,
the
exactly.
16-year-olds or 19-years now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the
21.
18-year-olds are, in their 20s. And the
big
people
difference.
in their 20s are now entering there's civil war. Like the collapse is going to get crazy. When you see people fleeing,
And get power and basically tear down the institutions that they harbor resentment towards for whatever reason. But
they're doing it unopposed,
I
man.
think, I think that it's possible. On the other hand, I don't know. I think the entire dominant media culture is on their side, and that's no small thing. Many Americans don't trust the media anymore, but some still do, and also these people are in control of the social media outlets as well, and so they determine what's true and false, and the fact checkers will say X, Y, and Z if it fits their agenda, and so it's hard for me to say. I can't say right now that there will absolutely be this backlash by 2024 and that Donald Trump will be reelected. But I do think that it's a distinct possibility. There are a lot of factors here, and it's too complicated to make one prediction. I want to sort of see how things go, and especially because, look, if you had asked me 1 year or less than 1 year into Trump's presidency what I thought the end of his first term would look like, none of my predictions would have come remotely close to what ended up happening. And so right now, we're less than a year into Biden's presidency, and I'm kind of sitting here trying to make a prediction by 2024 if things will get bad enough. I mean, I really can't. We just have to expect the unexpected at this point and pray. I mean, that's my only advice.
I don't know if he'll get reelected. I mean, it might be a Buchanan situation. Joe Biden flounders and then Trump gets reelected and then civil war or whatever. But I will say that the left has been completely unopposed. Mm-hmm. I think it was Jesse Kelly. Maybe it was Jesse Kelly. Somebody said that the left won the culture war because they were the only ones fighting it.
There's truth in that. And like Michael Malice says, I know he gets a shout out every other episode here, but the difference between the left and the right is the left is serious.
Yep. That's it. You got a bunch of zealots who will do anything. They say by any means necessary.
Yeah.
Violent psychopaths burning down buildings, smashing things. And you get the Republican Party like, don't you do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
One thing I was mentioning the other day is that Nancy Pelosi comes out and screams January 6th, and what do the Republicans come back and say? January 6th. Instead of coming out and saying Antifa. That's they don't do it.
You guys endorsed this times 20 all summer long, more than times 20. People were rioting and literally burning down this country for months straight, and we were told that that was mostly peaceful and it was A-okay.
The Republican Party is is subservient to the Democratic Party, period. Hands down, 100%, all of them. Every single one. Even Rand...
With a few exceptions. Oh, you really...
No.
You're going to Rand Paul. I was
Rand
just about to
Paul
bring him
made
up
the
as a
Breonna
counterexample.
Taylor bill.
Because the left wanted
Why
him to.
is there no David Dorn bill?
No, I hear you.
Why is there no one standing up and demanding a national holiday or making us think about it? And I know, Ian, you mentioned the media, but that's not relevant. When even Rand Paul comes out and says, you're framing your rules, here's my proposition, they are subservient to the Democrats, period.
Yeah, I was saying that the media tempers the flame. It basically heats up the metal to get the iron hot so that you can, as a politician, strike it and be like, I want to make a bill about this topic because the media has made it such a hot, ready to be molded topic. And that the David Dorn thing, there wasn't enough public knowledge about the guy.
Trump had the opportunity to do so much. He never did.
I know.
Even though Trump was a fighter, he still would give the interviews to these organizations, acting as though they were neutral arbiters of anything. They weren't. It's all for the political agenda. So even during all of this, you can force the press to cover stories, okay? And Republicans never do. They always bow down to the narrative from the left.
Why
so
is
that's
that?
it.
Is it just because they don't have the contacts in the media organizations or the organizations?
Because they're not serious.
Because they're just old.
They're not. Not all of them are old. Some of them are
Collecting
young.
a paycheck. You're right. Not all of them.
They're just
are
not
old.
serious.
Not smart
Look,
enough.
I mean, you get Marjorie Taylor Greene, and she pushes back much in the way that many of the Democrats do, like the Squad especially, and they hate her for it. There you go. You got a fighter there. Lauren Boebert pushes back. Still, though, I would say maybe Marjorie Taylor Greene is the only one who's not playing into their narrative and is actually pushing back and saying, I counter this. But almost all the Republicans just say whatever it is the Democrats' narrative is, they argue on their terms. There you go.
The Uniparty? I think
No. It's the neocons joined the Democrats a long time ago.
Yeah. Bill Kristol, basically, it was during Obama's reign that they went over and got on his drone bomb.
And the remaining Republicans are just like, I don't know.
There's
There's no leaders. There's no leadership.
Not in our government. Not really.
No, the Democrats have leaders. Tons of them.
Maybe
They do.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, how do you define a leader?
They say they take action. They command. They demand.
It's like
and
AOC.
people follow.
AOC.
Yeah. AOC can come out and say whatever she wants, and it becomes major news.
Right.
She becomes the story.
Right.
Ted Cruz goes on vacation and then runs back cowering like, I'm so sorry. I was just following my daughters. I'm so sorry.
I don't think, regarding what we were talking about earlier, about is there a way, is there a way out of this? I think that
I don't see it.
that people could refocus the problem onto the banking industry and realize that they're printing us into madness.
Republicans all say, oh, it was bad. Oh, we're so sorry. And then you get some Republicans who are clearly Democrats saying like, my colleagues won't even say the right thing. And then even the ones who are saying it's political and to ignore it are still bringing it up and making it the center focus.
Interesting.
Yeah. So they're walking right in. It's like they're fighting an alligator underwater, man.
I know. It's I think maybe not talking about politics is one thing, but like trying to fix the system by using that is fighting the alligator underwater. Like trying to use the political establishment to fix the political establishment is just not the place to do it.
There's no tact. There's no tact. There's no strategy.
No, we need
it's random, self-centered, and there's no leadership
in the government.
No. In the anti-establishment faction.
Yeah, I don't like cult worship in general. I don't think a guy or a girl can like come out and be like, I can do it. Like Elon Musk kind of, but then, his whole Bitcoin debacle screwed a bunch of people
He's
up.
out for himself.
Right. And you can only ever be out for yourself first. And you should be out for yourself first.
The left is out for a collective victory, and everyone else are out for themselves.
They're all out for themselves too. They do it in the guise of a
exactly.
collective.
They're out
No,
for
but it
themselves.
all serves the collective.
I guess.
As long as their cult ideology expands, they benefit from it. On the right, though, there's conflict between even people who are anti-establishment.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and there should be.
The left does fire on each other as well. The circular firing squad for sure.
I think there should be conflict between. We should all have healthy conflict. You never want to subserve to another human, really. I don't think. Even in a marriage, you want there to be healthy conflict and communication. Not necessarily confrontation at the very least, if not conflict. But so we need a system that allows for that, obviously. I don't think a human's going to come and be like, I will follow me, everyone, like the Captain America. But we'll build a system.
It's difficult.
Yes.
That's a lot harder to get people to do than to throw Molotov cocktails at buildings or scream down people who disagree with you politically.
And it's also vague. Like, how do you tell someone how to live morally? Like, that's a challenging. Like Jordan Peterson does 8-hour, lectures just about that, about one way that you can live more just.
100%. But I'd also say, and this is part of what being conservative is recognizing the age-old wisdom. Just saying, like, these are the virtues. People need to live these out as best they can. That's what we have to encourage our followers to do. I've said this before, but conservatism has very much become this very loose affiliation of people who have kind of vaguely similar ideas about the economy. And oftentimes it falls back on this philosophy of just like, leave me alone and let me do whatever I want. But
which is actually more classically liberal.
Yeah,
than conservative.
exactly. We need something much more robust. And this is why I've always said we need something much more robust, or I've said more recently, more robust and rooted in Catholicism. And what I'm saying there too is something really, really well rooted in virtues and people living their lives in an upright fashion. And I don't think that's too vague if you're referencing the virtues specifically.
Like, the reason I refer to it as vague is because when you're like, Antifa's like, we're going to throw a brick, that's like a call to action.
Fair,
like, pick
fair.
this up and
Yes.
do it, and then it's done. But like, if you're like, live humbly, be humble, like that's a vague command, so how do you implement the virtues?
That's fair. Well, and I think too, a lot of what they talk about is tearing the system down, and they deconstruct everything philosophically. They don't necessarily have to put anything forward in terms of what should replace the system once it's been removed. So they're not in the business of building things, whereas we're supposed to be. So again, that's an edge that they have.
They're destroying things.
Exactly.
And
That's the point. That's their goal.
I guess a good way to exude virtue is to make internet video and show people, like,
Make cartoons.
do it become it yourself, and then allow people to witness.
Interesting.
yeah, mockery is good. But it seems to be, I guess, not as effective. It's been 10 years. Who'd have thought that when you saw, Gamergate, that these cultists would have reached the highest levels of government, the presidential office.
I never would have.
And it happened.
6 years.
Literally
It's
happened.
so weird.
Biden
Oh, no,
has.
honestly, it doesn't surprise me at all.
So the right, or the anti-establishment, or whatever you want to call it, has lost every step of the way.
Politically, absolutely, yeah.
Some victories here and there, some victories in certain areas, but Trump was only holding back the tidal floods.
Actually, Tim, what happened was we won so much we got tired of winning, so we decided to start losing all the time.
Who
got
wants
so
to play
boring.
with someone that can't lose?
Yeah. Donald Trump won, and a lot of people felt that was it. And the good example of that is 2018. People voted for Trump because they don't care for the Republicans or the Democrats, many of these people. Trump wins, but he won with only 88,000 votes across 3 states, which gave him a good electoral college victory.
Yeah,
Come
it's true.
2018,
It's true.
those people didn't come out and vote. So the data suggests that the people said, I voted for Trump, I'm done. And that was it. And then the Democrats got the House back, and they used it to burn everything to the ground.
100%.
So, this is very easily evidenced by the victories of the Republicans in 2020. So the polls were all off. It was funny looking at the New York Times. Are lean blue, and they were solid red. And these were solid blue, and some of them flipped red. Like even an urban center in Florida turned red. Because what happened was you had a bunch of Democrats say, we're not going to culture war. You vote for us, we're going to get you health care.
Yes.
And everyone said, thank you.
Yes.
The first thing these scumbags did,
Exactly.
vote for impeachment. Nancy Pelosi came over and they dropped to their knees and they licked her feet. And then they went and voted for whatever she told them to vote for. And then many of them lost the re-election because people were like, I don't care for you. You did not get us what we wanted. But still, it shows you that these Democrats promise all these things and then deliver nothing.
Well, and this is part of why I think, again, even though I will not make hard and fast predictions here, there is some hope for a backlash, because I think when people vote Democrats, it's most often because they believe they will provide them things like inexpensive health care or worker benefits. They'll strengthen the unions. Now, I'm not saying that Democrats actually deliver on these things or that the strategy Democrats would take for improving people's quality of life are in any way effective, but This is what people seem to want from Democrats. I don't think people really want the woke ideology. And so when they see the Democrats bending the knee to these organizations like Black Lives Matter and Antifa and going off the deep end with all the woke stuff, they're more likely to say, well, you guys aren't doing the things that we actually elected you to do. You're just pandering to the far left. So we're going to vote for Republicans now.
I don't know if that actually solves anything when Republicans don't actually fight.
No, and there's truth in that too.
They come to your house and they arrest you.
They come to your house and arrest you either way. If it gets that bad, the point is you just have to be the best possible person you can become. And if that happens, and if enough of the population actually cultivates virtue, then they could prevent that kind of a disaster. People could actually rise up. But I know that people not working on themselves and not trying to become better human beings only ends in disaster for everybody.
This last month, I've been so focused on being a better person and listening, and it's amazing how fast you can change if you really. I mean, you got to have self-awareness, but
yeah, I mean, we all have things we need to work on. I definitely have a lot I want to work on, but when you think about the fact that it really only takes 30 days to build a new habit, I mean, that's incredible. Anyone can change their life. There could be something that you've been doing every day for 20 years, and you just take a month to do the opposite. It's really difficult, but you'll end up building a completely new habit. It's amazing.
Sound like Jordan Peterson.
It's like, man, it's like you can build new habits. All you have to do is get your life in order.
I mean, that's something.
Clean your room.
Clean your room. That's something my parents would tell me as a kid. Yeah, it takes 30 days to build a habit. And I'd be like, whatever. You know, as a kid, you're like, 30 days, that's so much time. Now it's like, man, a month just flies by, and I could be a significantly improved person by the at the beginning of the month. That's what I want for myself. I think most months, I, like most other people, don't make that decision, and I should.
So, like, if you're changing a habit, you just, when you notice yourself doing it, you acknowledge that you're doing it?
What do you mean by that? Like, in terms of how you cultivate a habit?
Yeah.
I think, so give me an example of something a person might want to change.
Oh, like, I don't know, drinking coffee in the morning.
Yeah, so something they would want to stop doing.
Yeah.
You
So
can't just
I
stop
think-
drinking coffee, though.
That's-
Yeah, so here's the thing. I think usually they say the best way of stopping yourself from doing something is to replace it with something else. So for 30 days, you would just say drink tea every morning instead of coffee. And then by the end of that month, tea would become
now you're
your new
addicted
habit.
to tea, which
Yeah, exactly.
in some instances has more caffeine than the coffee.
it can
does.
have more caffeine, but it doesn't have to be tea. It can be something else. You can just be like, I have water every morning. It can be something that doesn't even seem to have that much of an effect. But knowing that you have replaced one thing with another thing actually builds the habit of doing the second thing.
You know,
And
you
so-
know, you do. It's easy. It's like when you're pouring your coffee, just pour 1 ounce less.
Every single day, just a tiny bit
No,
less.
for 1 week you pour 1 ounce less. The
Mm.
next week you do it 1 ounce less, and then eventually you're having like a small, shot.
That takes a lot of discipline too, though, because what's to stop you at one point from being like, you know what, today's my cheat day, and I'm just gonna pour
That's
the whole
fine, though.
thing, and
A
then
cheat
you
day
do
is
it.
fine.
Yeah, but I think a lot of people do a cheat day, and then it just becomes a whole thing.
Yep.
They just fall back.
I
into
hear it a lot
yeah.
from people who are like, I'm doing keto, I can't eat a bowl of macaroni and cheese, but I'll make an exception for the bowl of macaroni and cheese. And
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, you're not doing
Yeah,
keto.
exactly,
Like,
exactly.
That's not how it works.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think something. No, none of that. none
So
of that.
how do you build a new habit of something you want to learn how to do? Like, I don't know, increase your listening skills.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think I'm no like expert or self-help guru here, but I would just say that you have to start by just doing that thing every day for 30 days, and you have to schedule it at a specific time so that it works its way into your schedule, and then eventually it just becomes a normal thing to you that doesn't require as much effort to get started with, and that's when it becomes a habit.
Yeah,
Thank you,
for
Sensei.
for me, when I started making videos every day at a certain time,
Yeah.
it was like a personal obligation.
Yes.
Like I would feel a kind of anguish if I didn't do what I was supposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
Like I decided like I got to do this thing,
At that time.
and like every day at 4 p.m. I have to have a video out, and so like the nightmares that I've had, few and far between.
2.5 years without missing a single upload at one point. It's very rare that we missed one, but that's what it was. It was just an obligation to myself, saying like I have to get this done. And the way it started was I took some time away from uploading and just tried to work on a bunch of videos at once. And I was still in college at the time, and so I was in school while I was trying to keep up with this once a week schedule, and I was keeping up with it. And then eventually at some point I just like ran out of extra videos, and then I had to actually create a new video from scratch each week. And when the team was smaller, at one point it was basically just me doing basically everything that entire week, but I would just force myself to because I couldn't let myself not upload that week. And now We have this really consistent schedule. Sometimes we do twice a week. We're trying to get twice a week done more often. There are periods of time where we'll do two a week, three even.
You've been doing it long enough now, so where a lot of people don't know this, but Seamus doesn't actually do any of the voices anymore.
No.
It's all Korean voice actors
all
and
Tim.
Korean animators.
Yeah. Korean animators. It's actually Tim. Tim does all of it. Tim
I'm the Korean. I'm the one who does it. Yeah, I just worked 30 hours a day every day.
Every day
doing
to
the
animate for
FreedomToons.
me. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I do an impersonation of Seamus doing an impersonation of Jordan
Oh,
Peterson.
that's why it's so good.
Yeah,
That's right.
exactly.
Okay.
It's wonderful.
Tim's very talented.
I want to get.
That's why you
Seamus
should
in-
buy one of these T-shirts to support him.
See, this is when
Just
the
go to
internet cuts out.
FreedomToonsMerch.com. FreedomToons merch.
And it looked like the Nazis were about to take over the entire world. Like it looked like doomsday. And he just stayed positive. He kept telling people, "We're going to get through this. It's going to be okay. It's going to work. We're going to win." And he didn't know that, but his inspiration, his confidence, even if he had to fake it, worked. It kept people excited. It gave people hope. So I'm trying to go that route in regards to what the heck is going on with society right now. I know that we can fix things. We can decentralize and the workload.
Mm-hmm.
So I imagine that we will. Evolution
Interesting.
is a form of necessity.
Or in 20 years, the whole planet is woke, and it'll be a woke
I sure hope so, Tim.
dystopia, but you won't
Dyswoke-y.
be allowed to express those opinions.
Woketopia? Is it?
Yeah, so everything will be ultra woke, and you won't be able to express your opinions, and everyone will walk around with a fake smile on their face. You ever see that episode of Doctor Who, where they go to that planet where it's like a colony, and there's a bunch of robots with smiley faces, like big screens and smiley faces, and they don't realize what's happening, and then they have to wear badges that have smiley faces on them. And what it is, if they get sad, then the symbol on the thing like changes or whatever to a sad face. And the story was that the robots were tasked with keeping everybody happy. Someone died. Everybody got sad. And the robots didn't know why they were sad or how to stop it.
Oh, no.
Because it was death. So that eventually they realized when the sad people went and told other people someone died, those people got sad. The robots then looked at sadness like a contagion and started exterminating anybody who was sad because they were spreading sadness. And the death resulted in more sadness. So the doctor and I think it's with Claire or whatever her name is, they're walking around with like fake smiles on their faces. And the robots are like, ding. And they're like, just try smiling, otherwise they'll kill you. That's what it's going to be like in the future.
Yeah, probably. And that's great because then everyone will be happy.
Yeah, that's right.
That's important.
Do you see?
I want
Remember
people to
the
be happy.
Treehouse of Horror on Simpsons where he goes back in time, and then he like
Flanders is in charge?
yeah, Flanders
Yes.
in charge, and everyone
Badly how?
yeah, Mo is lobotomized, and he's like
Re-educate the piece.
re-education camps. Yeah, you're laughing, but you're not gonna be laughing when you're actually walking in there.
Yeah, I will because I'll have to be happy. I'll
They'll
be
be-
faking. I'm like,
That's
this is great, guys.
They're gonna be like, okay, who's next? FreedomToons.
Yeah, you think they're even going to try to re-educate me? Dude, I'm done.
re-educate? They're gonna be like, we want you to start making friendly tunes.
I'd be like, look, I've been making Biden tunes since like 2014, you guys. Huge fan of old Joe. No malarkey Joe.
I think they might actually accept that. They'll be like, yeah, we don't like Joe either. That was the old guard.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Well, I was always a big Joe Biden supporter.
I see
You
a
guys
marks
know
on that T-shirt.
Tell.
Wait, what happened? What are you saying? What I have Joe Biden on his T-shirt too as a lifeguard.
Seamus
That's a
from-
hairy legs. Well, it wouldn't be an accurate depiction if he didn't have hairy legs.
He's actually
but he doesn't
sitting on a
actually.
lifeguard
He's
thing.
just like dressed as a lifeguard up here.
Got hairy legs.
Got hairy legs.
Put in a brain barrel, bang on a curb.
What if it was Biden re-education, and we just all had to learn to talk like that? It's like,
We started saying malarkey.
no malarkey, Jack.
Record players. Remember when he said radio, but then corrected himself to record player or whatever?
Yeah, he's like, sure, not the radio, the record player. Like, he's like, what was he? I remember seeing that live. He was talking about ways to be attentive to your child or something, or things that are good for their intellectual development. He's like, you talk to that kid when they're in their crib. You play the radio, the record player, something
Yeah.
really bizarre. I
He
was
was
like,
trying-
that. I was like, that is my president.
He was trying to tell moms to stick their kid in front of the iPad and press play and walk away so that they can watch videos of the Incredible Hulk and Adolf Hitler doing Tai Chi dances together while an Indian family sings nursery rhymes.
I appreciate you shouting out my second channel.
So it's you who made this thing. Well, you get the government you vote for, man.
Yeah.
Or don't vote for if you didn't vote.
No, I don't know. George Carlin said, don't blame me. I didn't vote for these people.
No.
It's like, what do you do? You vote
I
for...
voted Coda.
Right.
Right. Simpsons reference. Yeah.
Don't blame me. I voted for Kodos. I'm not confident, but I am confident in locality. You know, I'm not confident in the federal government, but I'm confident, being out in the middle of nowhere. I think
guess-
it's the cities that are in trouble.
Voting works if you do it right. If you have like a local system, you're like, what do you guys want for dinner tonight? And everyone's like, I want, let's tally it up. And then, so it's not, not that I don't trust voting, but I don't trust that like voting another representative into office is going to fix this freaking this behemoth.
Yeah, of course not.
We need to do that ourselves.
Well, it's the people we elected who destroyed this whole thing.
Yeah, or that we didn't elect, like the head of the Federal Reserve, the people that we are appointed by the people we elected.
Yeah, a lot of people, like the parliamentarian in the Senate. There's how many positions are just appointed? We're supposed to be a republic. It's fascinating because you hear this argument about we're not a democracy. It's not supposed to be a democracy. And I'm like, well, if you think about it that way, then the people who win in the democracy, like the Democrats, are just the elites who manipulate and seize power. So I guess what's the issue then? If we were actually functioning the way the Founding Fathers intended, one of the problems that created the 17th Amendment was that the state governments felt the appointments, and the federal politicians, appointments to the Senate were corrupt. So the way it used to be, you'd vote for your state representatives. They would appoint senators to send to the federal government. There was concern that people were just buying these appointments, kind of like with ambassadorships. So then they were like, okay, we shouldn't do this. Let's change.
Earth is like an organism. It is like a god.
I disagree there.
That the Earth is a god. I was actually going to tweet that out. Earth is a god. I think
I would have been in your replies disagreeing with you.
You wouldn't have heard
no,
it.
No, hard no on that for me.
I don't know. It's just such a powerful force and entity, and like wind and everything moving in unison.
I think that you should view the earth as the individual components. Like you can look at the dirt and find these really cool things. You can find worms. You can examine the grass. You can look at everything in nature and just be incredibly amazed by it. And probably the way Seamus would go with that would be there is an incredible creator.
Exactly.
Somebody who put it together, every bit of this for every creature that eats the grass and the worms and the berries.
You know what I love?
Exactly.
I love simulism, right? Yeah. Simulation theory. So the idea is we're in a simulation. But why would they make that a supposition? Why would they determine that the thing that we exist in, that it's a simulation, right?
Wait, who's they?
Like anybody, Elon Musk.
Okay.
He talks about this, right?
Yeah.
So they say it's a simulation. We're in a computer program, and I'm like, why is it a simulation? Is like a facsimile representation of something else. So like simulated flight, right? It's that the implication is that they know there's a top level base reality that's identical to ours in many ways.
Interesting, yeah.
And we're simulated of it. And I'm like, if you believe we're in a computer program, why wouldn't you say we're in a construct? We are living within a programmed construct.
That's how I see gender, Tim.
What's a program? A set of rules and commands that create a system, a great plan that was put in place. So it's funny when they say simulation. The only difference between that and saying we are in a constructed reality by a greater power is that they think we are built in the image of the reality that we come from, which
turning it into perceived expression. So we do live within a simulate. Your environment is simulated, but that doesn't mean that simulation theory is a real thing. It doesn't mean it just like it is more. I think it would be more of a constructed.
No. What I'm saying is
matrix.
If it was one, would you call Grand Theft Auto a simulation?
No.
Well, that's like a driving simulator. That's how I learned.
It's a construct. I mean, it's a constructed virtual reality.
I guess it's both.
So look, I put it this way.
But what's sad about
no, it's just that we got to a point where we understood computers enough to where we started describing our reality like a simulation, and what they're basically saying is that some higher power created a simulated version of their reality for which we live in. I'm like, dude, that just sounds like religion, but you're trying to like spin it.
And
you know
we sort of talked about this before, I think in one of my earlier appearances, but people sort of view that as like a more sophisticated approach to religion, but it's actually much more rudimentary because what you're doing is you're just applying all of these human characteristics to God. And so instead of saying like we are created in God's image and likeness, you're saying like God creates like with tools the way that we create, and he's like kind of disinterested in his creation the way that we are with the things we create. Like in the Christian,
you can start breaking the paper clips down to create energy to make more paper clips, and you amass all carbon life on Earth to create more paper clips. Then you go out, send drones out into space that make paper clips out of themselves.
No, for real?
Yeah. And at what point do you care about any one of those individual paper clips? Because if there, I don't. I care that there are 600 trillion of them in my account, but I don't. No, not one of them matters to me.
Yeah.
Let's go to Super Chats.
Yeah, let's do it.
We'll go to Super Chats to the best of our abilities because the internet's been all whacked
Oh,
out.
boy.
It's been rough, dude. I woke up at 4 a.m. with the smoke alarm going off.
Yes.
The fire department comes out. And, like, people are just like, I don't want to go outside. And I'm like, the smoke alarm went off and the fire department's coming. Get out of the house.
I wanted to vlog.
I got up. I left immediately. Ian started playing drums.
Yeah, I just went
Ian,
out.
I was like, I want to go back to sleep
was
after
too
this,
early.
dude. You're like,
Could you hear it in the
Dude,
house?
Dude,
I
it
don't
was
know.
no. I was still sitting outside. I was like, I'm just gonna like sit up against
Dude.
this tree and get a little bit of shut eye.
brutal.
And then Ian's like, I have other plans. I am the greatest drummer.
Do an Ian impersonation.
Oh, I don't know if I could do one yet. I got to spend a little more time.
Let's
around
go
it.
read some Super Chats. All right, for everybody who hung out as long as you did, hey, thanks for hanging out. I know it's been all wonky.
Yeah.
When we upload this to iTunes and Spotify, you're not going to notice any breaks. But you will notice us saying things like the internet's out again a lot, which you don't hear because YouTube just like skips it over. So I actually think, like we're live for like 2 hours. The YouTube video will be like an hour 50
It'll be
or
like
something.
12 minutes.
It's 12, yeah, because the internet cut out so much. But we'll reach Super Chats and thanks for hanging out and smash the like button and become a member at timcast.com because the bonus segment will have no interruptions because it's recorded and then uploaded. All right.
And you know what else? Just go to FreedomToonsMerch.com.
You're gonna break the
Support me.
Oh yeah.
All right. Stairs into Space Gaming says, hey, Tim, wanted to say thanks for recommending crypto back in December. Recommendation for graphene production pays off for you as much as crypto did for me. Also, shout out to my fellow graphene disciple, Ian. Cheers.
I love you.
I invested a decent amount in a company that makes graphene.
Exciting.
And it's done well.
What's graphene?
It's this stuff.
It's
It's a single lattice.
Too late.
Of
You know what,
monatomic
Ian?
carbon.
I just remembered. I already know.
You're gonna.
I already
Actually,
know.
I gotta go. It was great meeting.
All right. Image JPEG says, Tim, please get Ron Paul on. All that's going on is on purpose. A history of money and banking in the U.S. shows corruption going far into the past. Ron Paul has a standing invitation to come on this show whenever he wants. I'm a big fan of Ron and Rand.
He's amazing.
Yep. The Micro Titan says, here is your donation. Tim, buy a new house. We're going to be setting up some, we're hiring. I'll just put it that way. I'll leave it there. I won't get too specific.
I actually had a question regarding the cost of lumber and steel going up. Are house prices also going up as a result, or just
Yes.
constructing
Yes.
the houses?
Yeah.
Yes.
So like the value
So-
of the lumber
costs.
in the house is calculated into the value of the
Well,
house.
so here's what's happening. In order to build a new house, it's like $30,000 to $40,000 more expensive to build the house because of lumber costs and steel. So what happens then is a house that would normally a new construct that would sell for $200,000 sells for $250,000, which means the value of the neighboring houses is also going to rise at the same time. Because if people, so it's just market forces. If someone's like, why buy a new house if the house next to it is the same price? Well, then people don't build new houses. Then there's no supply. Then someone builds a new house, and then someone is forced to buy the more expensive house. And then the people are like, I'm not going to sell my house if the new houses are going for the same price. I'm going to ask for a premium. So now you've got people in D.C., the famous story we talked about, $1 million over asking.
Coincidences.
All right, let's see what we got. Pioneer Smokehouses says Jim Worthington from Newtown Athletic Club is suing Move On for malicious and defamatory. Move On is trash. Everything they say is leftist. Well, I mean, yeah. Thomas B. Moore says, heads up, Ian. Trump signed the Farm Bill in 2018 with hemp and CBD legalization in it. USDA finalized and released regulations on January 15th, 2021.
Excellent.
Evil Zombie Hamster says, was Bitcoin invented or discovered? Glad to see you back, Seamus.
Thank you. I'm glad to be back.
like
And
that
to answer
question.
your question,
No, quick.
no, I
too late.
suppose that's a question we could ask about just about anything that gets created.
Rye CH says, Ian may be right. According to an article on Reason, Trump had a 9% tax and Biden is planning to double it and make it retroactive to 2019, putting importers on the hook for back tariffs.
Wow, that would be
funky.
such a good idea.
Throws where like we turn and smile at the camera.
Yes. And then yeah.
Just like the Full House intro, dude. You
Turn
start
and
with, you
smile
start
at
with
the
like the
camera.
big shot of the big Tim house, and it's like
We'll do a Simpsons couch gag.
Yeah.
We'll do one with Ian going Super Saiyan.
I'm so into it.
Yeah. Fighting Seamus.
Okay.
wait, what?
Android Seamus 17.
Yeah, that'll be a character. Like I'll
Yeah.
have a cool catchphrase and stuff.
You'll be like
Son
at the bar and the grind bar, and you like turn and smile.
No, Ian's what character would Ian be in Dragon Ball Z?
Oh, dude, I didn't
Or in
watch Dragon
Dragon
Ball Z
Ball.
at
I
all.
don't know it.
I didn't
Never
have cable,
seen it.
Tim. Come on.
Yeah, I don't know if there's a character that would represent you very well.
Let's get creative.
All right, a bringer of D says, Tim, FYI, red flannel isn't a requirement, but there's 20 beaver bucks towards towards your lumberjack future. Go get yourself a good axe and learn how to sharpen and maintain your tools. Most of it can be done with a good file. Well, there you go. What is this? KM says, when is there going to be a stoned Timcast or a drunk one? See Ian singing Grateful Dead or Fish songs, LOL. San Dimas High School football rules. There you go.
That's a Bill and Ted.
Bill and Ted reference. San Dimas rules.
I'd love to have a rock and roll podcast one of these nights.
Rock and roll.
Yeah, just play some music.
Roger B says, I work at a plastic injection company, and it's getting hard to get the raw plastic to run the non-medical part, nor can we get people to run the press. Wow. We bought 3D printers. We got a bunch of them. Dude, you ever see a resin printer?
No.
You've seen a resin printer,
love
right?
them.
I don't even know what it is.
So resin's liquid, and they use what's ultraviolet, right?
Yeah, they multiple ways, but that's one of them.
Ultraviolet light hardens it. So what happens is there's a screen, and there's resin, and then a plate touches the resin, and then the light from the UV hits the plate, hardening the resin on the plate, and the plate slowly moves up. It looks like it's pulling something out of the resin.
It's crazy.
But it's just hardening in sequential order. So like as it lifts up, you'll see like the figure. And so if you were like painting like if you were printing like a resin horse, you would see like the hooves and then the body, and then it would like lift up, and you're like, whoa! It looks like it just pulls it out of nothing, like magic.
I think they're making
Rad.
like organic compounds out of like chemical resin soup. I could be wrong, but I remember seeing like resin printers that were printing like living structures and stuff out. Like they just pull the heart out of the goo or something like that, or the kidney or something. I think.
Andy Plays Game says, Tim, about the sleeping bag thing. No, use Borg alcoves. Much more expensive and a way to sink money. Oh, wait, no computer chips available. Never mind. Oof. Bummer. Dude, we've been waiting for 2 months on this computer. It's still not here.
Wow. We should buy more computers.
You should buy
I tried
hundreds
it.
more.
Dude, there was like the inventory is just trash. So we need a network terminal, and we need some workstations, and they're just really bad. It's like the bottom of the barrel at this point.
That's rough.
Dude.
Very weird.
And they're saying, oh, it's like demand is so high, but supply isn't caught up yet. And I'm like,
Yeah.
if people can't buy the thing they want to buy, what's going to incentivize them to go make things? It's like if I want to buy a computer and I can't get it, then my money doesn't have the same value. If the computer was sitting there shiny and sparkly, and I'd be like, man, I got to go get a job so I can buy that computer.
Yeah,
There
like
ain't no computer
the
there.
way technology works is we build it off of what we had already built. So like a laser, you get a diamond or a crystal that focuses the laser to cut another crystal smaller to make a better laser that can cut the crystal even smaller to make another laser that can cut it even smaller. So you make these better. So if all of a sudden every laser and every crystal was just gone and we had to start from scratch again, I don't know that we would be able to build these advanced machines or without. I mean, obviously if we have the data and the understanding of how to get there, we'll get there faster, but we still would need to recreate the step-by-step system, I think.
DJ Maverick says, it's my first super chat, and I was wondering if you have control on what ads you have on your videos, because this ad popped up and it scared me because of what it is. I tweeted at you, can't link it here. No, it's all automatic systems. So on the podcast and on YouTube, it's a totally automated system. There are some ads where I literally do the reads, and that appears on the podcast. Those are the ones that are like sent to me, and they're like, what do you think? And I'm like, oh, that's cool. But then most ads are just automated systems. Yeah. So it was funny, like when Bloomberg was advertising on my my videos, where I was like, Bloomberg's trash.
That's funny.
And then a video appears like, I'm Michael Bloomberg.
Dude,
Vote for me.
There were Bloomberg videos everywhere for dude. It was
Like
like a
cicadas.
strange couple weeks. Yeah, they were like.
Let me just show you the story real quick. Why a Leesburg restaurant plans to serve Asian cicadas now instead of the local variety. They say late last week, the Loudoun County Health Department told Cochina on Market in Leesburg to stop selling its newly popular cicada tacos. The reason, according to the health department, was that the cicadas, which were being foraged for locally, were not coming from an approved source.
What?
That's right. You can't just eat and sell grubs and bugs
You
off
can't
the
just
ground.
sell bugs you found
No
on the
kidding.
ground. That's
That's
really
right.
weird.
That's crazy.
So this was happening literally in Leesburg. The guy was going, there's a video of him walking in the yard going, here's a good one, and grabbing a cicada and throwing it in like a jar or something. So this was literally happening. And I tell people, hey, don't eat those because they're not properly sourced. And now the health department has said, yes, you can't do that.
Tim, you specifically told me to eat as many as I possibly
Oh,
could.
yeah.
We need you to
You're like,
eat as many as
Seamus,
you
just
can.
go out back I was like, hey Tim, what are you doing? What are you doing? They're like, just go out in the backyard, eat as many cicadas as you can. I was like, all right.
Dude, they're flying around like crazy. Just don't work, and then I just throw them in the chicken
season
flack.
for the chickens.
Yeah, so like I can walk
Similar.
up and just boop them into the jar and then throw the jar in the chicken coop, and the chickens go nuts and just maul them like crazy. But the ones that are flying around, I just, pop.
You would hit
And
them out of the air?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And then they just like flutter down. Ooh, and then
See,
I just,
killing for a purpose is nice, like hunting.
Yeah,
I got
it is.
chickens to feed, bro.
I knew kids in 5th grade that would take the plastic bat out and hit lightning bugs. I might have told you guys
No,
about
that's
this.
how
whack.
dare
Yeah, and I
you.
wouldn't do it. I just felt morally like corrupt by it, and I felt all
That's
sad, and they
messed
didn't want to be
up.
my friend, but it wasn't worth it.
You must serve
for you.
negative entropy, Ian.
Had we been feeding
The
chickens-
goal of hunting the cicadas was to contribute to the expansion of chicken kind.
Chicken.
Yes.
Yeah, that's true.
Right.
Yeah.
Dude,
Not
for
just
more
for
eggs.
there's no destruction in it. It was the cicada was becoming one with the chicken, so the chicken could become more.
Yeah.
Just killing the cicada for the sake of killing it's messed up.
Convert cicadas to eggs.
But I do have a rule. The chickens that escape, I let them escape.
escape.
So,
So you mean
like-
the cicadas.
You
You said chickens.
Yeah, you said chickens. I was like, wait, what?
No. The chickens are good.
I'd hunt
The
them down.
cicadas that escape. So when I'm
It's a bad idea.
when I'm walking along the bush, yeah, well I know, but hold on. So what happened? I went to Sweden. I covered the story. I was a bit of the story to the Swedes, but I was there to report to Americans, and so I reported what was going on. And I said, I'm going to do my videos. I won't go back to Sweden. I went to Thailand, did a documentary on the conflict there, and afterwards it embarrassed some very powerful people, and they said you don't want to go back, so I didn't. When you're assigning journalists to do stories, you don't send a woman into Tahrir Square because they were literally raping women. So why would you just create that risk? We have security protocols for these things. So Andy is the #1 prime target for Antifa. He is allowed to be a journalist. I get that. Women should be allowed to walk around at night without fear of being raped, but rapists exist. So I think personal responsibility is a tremendous opportunity with the support of all of you. Clearly love what he does to expand his operation and use his experience, his know-how to allow other people to expand. Now, instead of having just one Andy No, Andy can help lead 10 Andy No's. And with your support, helping him fund it, he could do something much more powerful. James O'Keefe isn't going to go inside Planned Parenthood or Facebook or any of these organizations anymore. He started an organization, he hired people, now they do it, and he leads the charge. That's the way it is. The world should be certain ways, but it isn't. The real world is not, what we want it to be. That's just that's life.
Yeah, we talked about it last night a little bit. Andy's been on my mind a lot for about 10 months because after he got hurt last August or something,
Yeah.
it really disturbed me. And there's this trope of the young soldier, the young warrior prince who goes out and leads the troops for years and years and years and fights on the front lines, but then eventually retires to the throne room because his experience and intellect is too valuable to risk on the front lines. And that on top of being well known by sight, obviously you can't put yourself in danger physically. You need to retire. I mean, that's
not
you
retire.
don't need to, but
expand.
yeah. Honestly,
Do more.
If you can become an administrator and administrate other young warriors to lead the charge, that's the idea of the ancient king. It's the evolution of the young prince into the old king.
I mean, a lot of the work he was still doing was aggregating information and being that source for people. So he knows who to follow. He knows where to get that key information. He's still able to report without being in the midst of a local Antifa, group or whatever. So now he can actually hire new people who does.
I guess to
Imagine-
give context. Oh, I don't know if people know what we're talking about. Andy went undercover to Antifa. Was in Portland, I think.
Yeah,
and then they found out it was him. And then chased him and
Beat
attacked
him
him.
and attacked him.
Yeah.
Imagine if Andy had an operation like Veritas, where instead of just him going down for one protest, he had 10 people across the country at all of their meetings.
Yeah, you'll get people in Antifa that contact you, Andy, via email. It's telling you and giving you undercover stuff. It'll be great.
It's time to go big. All right, let's see. Let's see what we got. Jamie Chaffin says, I was told they already won. I said the wrong doors have not been knocked on yet. They don't understand when they knock on the wrong doors, they will have an answer. Maybe. Daniel Young says, Tim needs Starlink or other reliable ISP to stream. We have satellite. We quite literally have a satellite backup. It's not working. Yeah. Something happened when the power got knocked out. It affects the whole area in a variety of reasons. But that doesn't explain satellite. I don't know why the
is weird.
satellite got knocked. It's probably our internal network got frazzled.
Be.
Yeah. So we're going to have to do some kind of reset,
A great
it is
reset?
what it is. A great reset.
It's got to be great.
Kelnon Telf says Mike Lindell just sued Dominion for $2 billion. His evidence package from an InfoSec side is a smoking gun showing 555,864 votes switched from Trump to Biden. Basically, if he's not fabricating evidence, it's indisputable proof. So that's kind of what I'm saying, and start focusing on hiring more people. Because so long as I'm spending, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. recording, and then having only a few hours to do like banking stuff, and then I do this show, I don't have time to actually hire and expand. So if I allocated more like the mornings to actually hiring people and expanding, then we'd probably way bigger, way faster.
You could just hire me to be the replacement Tim. I'll do those videos for me. You get me a beanie, boy.
Got you a
I'm
beanie?
in front of that camera.
Just have
I'm
you do
on
it?
Yeah. Have the Illinois boys sub in for you.
That's
Some
right.
days
Illinois
it's me,
boys.
some days it's Jack.
There you go.
We know all your opinions.
I'm getting
True.
very excited.
No, I mean at a certain point, I have to recognize that. You know what I mean?
I hear
Is
you.
it effective for me to keep just recording 3 hours every single day, or
What's
hire-
your ideal life?
What do you mean?
Like if you could pick like it's happening how you want it to happen, what's a natural day for you?
Literally, what's happening?
But I mean, you say you need to do less videos to do more administrative
So
stuff.
I can focus more on hiring people and growing the company.
But you like doing the videos?
The challenge is that I stopped doing videos. A lot of the money stops coming in.
My dad was a
Yeah.
lieutenant, and had an opportunity to become a captain, but didn't want to because he didn't want to take the desk job.
Yeah.
He liked being there with men and like leading the group into the house. I don't know.
Diana Cooper says BlackBerry, rocket, 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 smiley, smiley, smiley. Is BlackBerry skyrocketing?
Excuse me?
Apparently.
Oh.
We have a mulberry
interesting.
tree.
Oh, I
Yes,
still haven't
we
had
do.
one.
I ate some of those today, dude.
Did you like
It was
them?
really good, yeah.
They're kind of bland.
Yeah.
Tree berries?
I mean, they're not incredible, but, it's free food from outside. I felt like an
True.
anarcho-primitivist. I was like,
Yeah,
this
yeah.
is how it should have.
And the best
I was
part
like,
was-
this is what they took from us.
That's right.
There's a cicada, and it's holding the mulberry, like standing on it, and you pick him, and you get both. Same
I
time.
know, I
nice.
ate both at the same time. And honestly, they're delicious. I don't know what you guys
That's
were
a
talking
great
about with this
combo.
fungus. That's,
It's full of amphetamines.
So what do? Take the mulberries, mix it with sugar?
yeah, of course.
Yeah.
No,
You-
I was
you,
just straight
uh,
up eating mulberries.
You take the mulberries. You got to get the stems off them, and then we'll put it in a pan, and you'll put sugar in it, and you just cook it, put some lemon juice in it,
Some other juice with it.
and then it simmers down. What do you mean?
I think that they're not sweet enough.
Oh, well, you put sugar in it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just some regular.
I'm sorry
sugar
what
beets.
nature has to provide isn't good enough for you guys.
That's right.
I'm sorry the food that literally just
I
came
mean,
up
it's
through. Good enough for
actually,
you guys.
you know,
Whatever.
like if you're doing keto, you can have berries because berries don't have a lot of sugar in them.
Depending on the berries.
Yeah, like mulberries. Like they're not very sweet. They're
Wow.
kind of
They have fiber in them.
Yeah, that's right. All right, let's see. We'll do a couple more of these here super chats.
Fish, Long John Silver commercial.
Ian, there
interesting.
goes your shipping container idea.
I want to
That's
build
Another
shipping
building
containers.
material.
Ryan C says Ian is Chaozu, and like I guess it's as close as you can get because Chaozu's got psychic powers.
Okay, that's my style.
Yeah, but Chaozu's like a tiny floating little like imaginary thing.
I'd be the guy you find if you're like playing a game and you come up on this dude, this like wizard dude that's fighting off like 3 goblins or whatever, and he's getting beat down. And if you don't save him, he dies. But if you save him, he joins you, and he's like this weird like wizard guy.
Mark Jensen says, as if Ian didn't make much sense before, try having the internet cut out and then back to mid-rant.
Because it was.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
What if he's
It's
like, actually,
listen,
Tim's
the
like,
thing about graphene, you got to understand this material and it clips. It's like, and so when the aliens are coming,
I
and it
feel
clips
so
again,
sorry for you.
and that's when the fungus affected the
It
cicada.
mostly made sense over here.
I looked at the transcript and actually it never cut out when Ian was talking. That was just how he
It's
sounded.
just confusing.
Yeah, what are you talking about? The
I'm
internet's
trying
been fine the
to
whole time.
formulate the.
All right, we got a couple more. Let's see. Legitimate, Legitimath Gian. Regarding what you were earlier talking about, where one day we'll have BLM flags everywhere and a little while later you need to report to the gulag, I think the language needs a new word. Frog boiling. Progressive, bad faith, harmful aggression. Love you guys. Yeah. The frogs in the
Yeah.
pot, you know. All right, let's see what we got. Sonny James says, did you guys hear about the actual soil dying in parts and useful only for GMO seeds? Talk about the utmost disaster capitalism. Aaron Brockovich sounded the alarm on infertility. Could you imagine if you had to get the government's assistance to reproduce? Yikes.
This is like the genetically modified corn that would. Are they saying that will infect the soil and make it so you would need to keep getting that same genetically modified seed in order to grow it in your area?
guess.
Yeah, they would do that. It's almost like they hold like the farmer. They blackmail these farmers by getting them on this like genetically modified plan, and then they
Crazy.
can't. They have to keep buying the pesticides, the glyphosate or whatever.
All right. Got well two more here. Nicholas Grenier says, did you see the Hills poll showing that 83% of Americans support government action against China if lab leak theory proven true? Did you see the story where Chinese state media threatened nuclear war if we investigated the origins of COVID?
Yep. Ooh. It's almost like Russia wasn't the biggest threat for all this time. We were told that Russia was the biggest threat.
Imagine
Crazy.
World War III breaking out with Joe Biden as president.
Oh.
Yeah, look, the
Can I
pressure.
let it- Oh, okay.
I can say it faster than he said it.
No.
Shabada.
I can say it faster than you can say
Shabada.
it. Truman Shabba pressure.
Truman and Nana Shabba pressure.
Truman on a Shabba pressure.
Truman and Nana Shabba pressure.
Truman on a Shabba pressure.
Batacaf care.
Truman on a Batacaf here.
Truman and Nana Shabba pressure.
Truman on a Shabba pressure. Batacaf here.
You too.
Smash the like button.
Smash the like button.
And
Go
if you
to-
want to hear me and Seamus just keep saying the same things over and over again, go to timcast.com for the bonus segment, which will be coming up a little bit.
And also-
It was brutal. I mentioned like the fire alarm thing and like going out in the morning. Like my back hurts.
Oh, wild. Yeah, that was jarring getting
Yeah.
woken up. I was actually still awake, but
That
Dude,
messed me
what
up,
do you
man.
mean, Jar? Yeah, what are you talking about? It was Jar getting woken up. Oh,
I had a
was still
great
awake,
time last
and
night.
I started playing the drums.
I saw some
when
firemen.
everyone
They were
was
cool.
exhausted.
Yeah.
It's brutal because like my schedule is so jam packed.
Yeah.
I get literally like 7 hours of sleep perfectly as long as I'm undisturbed. So waking up at 4, I'm just like
Yeah,
my eyes are
exactly.
sunken. I'm like, ugh.
I know, dude. Tim
hardcore.
punched me in the head. It was awful.
Oh, I was just brutally beating. Like,
boom through the window.
and me and Seamus were like, we were fighting in the air and like clashing.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. That was partially.
And
dreamed,
then, you
but
know,
we
he did
get
the
to
big
fight.
bang attack and I did Kamehameha and then like the whole sky lit up and they're like, "What's
Sorry, I
happening?"
missed this.
They still haven't
Seamus'
worked it
hair
out.
turns
That's a great-
blonde.
Exactly. I was like, ah.
And we'll see you all. Thanks for hanging out. You can follow the show at Timcast IRL on Instagram and Facebook. Share our videos. You can follow me at Timcast. Subscribe to this channel. Smash the like button. And I am deeply impressed with everybody who watched this broken internet video. We had a massive storm hit us, so we'll have to just like reboot the internet and get it sorted. And then just probably set up a protocol for checking audio, visual, and internet before every show so it never happens again. But, you know, we are kind of in the middle of nowhere, so it happens. But, Seamus, I hear you have T-shirts that broke the internet.
I have T-shirts that broke this stream. So if you want to support me at Breaking Tim Streams up, first of all, just go to youtube.com/FreedomToons. We make cartoons. We release them every single week, sometimes twice a week. And I also have these T-shirts for sale if you want to support what we're doing. FreedomToonsMerch.com is the website for those. So youtube.com/FreedomToons. Check that out. Subscribe. Please subscribe. Trying to grow as much as we can. And, yeah, also purchase some shirts so that we can fund the show.
Thanks, Seamus.
You're welcome.
I love you.
I love you, Ian.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for coming and listening to me talk about graphene and new technologies. And I had a great time. Follow me at IanCrossland.net and at Ian Crossland on social media. You get my music on Spotify and Amazon, things like that. Great.
I have never been so happy that I don't live at the studio between the cicadas
Oh my
and being
gosh.
woken up at 4 in the morning. It does sound exciting, though, I have to say. Maybe I feel like I missed out a little bit, but I'm better rested than these guys are.
Yeah.
You guys can follow me on Twitter at Sour Patch Lids as I attempt to overtake Sour Patch Kids.
We will see you guys at timcast.com in the members only exclusive where Seamus does the whole show by himself
By myself.
as Jordan Peterson, Alex Jones, Ben Shapiro, and Dr. Fauci arguing with each other